Welcome to day 3 of VEDA 2025. Today, come join me as I do some weaving. Step 1, I have to prep my warp. So what I'm doing right here is I am winding up and down. This is my warping mill. The seller of my loom very kindly included this, so I bought my loom on Facebook Marketplace, and this was included because I didn't even realize I needed this. So I'm basically just going up and down. There's a cross at the top called a threading cross, a cross at the bottom called the raddle cross, and I just keep going until it gets too fat, and then I'll cut that one off, braid it, and do it again. I ended up with 3 braids to prep my loom. And to make my life easier, you can see on my trolley down at the bottom there, I've just stuck a bit of dowel in. I did talk about this a bit in yesterday's video. It's a bit of dowel, a rubber band on each end, and it just holds my reels of yarn in place, and then it makes it really easy to pull them up without my yarn rolling away. I did contemplate making like a proper one, but this works so well, and it cost me exactly 0. Okay, it cost me a couple of hugs to my 11-year-old to steal a couple of his rubber bands because I was out of rubber bands, but that's a fair price to pay, I feel. And so, yeah, so this took me probably a week or two just picking away at it at night. So there's 1134 ends in this project. So that's how many times I'm going up and down this warping mill. And then while I still had my yarn set up on the trolley before I reset for April and packed everything away, I decided I'd get some bobbins pre-wound while everything was out. There's lots of DIY options for bobbin winding to make it a little bit cheaper when getting started with weaving, but I had an occasion last year to celebrate, and so I splurged and I bought the Ashford bobbin winder, and it's just such a fun toy, winding backwards and forwards. So I pre-wound that one. I wound 2 bobbins of the mid green and then 1 each of the light green and the teal. And so I've got those. I'll probably need to wind some more bobbins, but for now that's enough to get me started, and I can pack that stuff away for now and just pull it down later on. So it's really easy in my craft room with everything labeled and organized to get it up and down. That one's a bit trickier because it is up the top, so I need my teenage boy to help. But we do what we have to do. So that's my bobbins wound. And so with those done, it was time to go container diving. I pulled out my raddle kit. I did have a minor moment of panic when it wasn't where I thought it was supposed to be, which, yeah, bit stressful, but I went container diving and I found it so I could get stuck in and get my loom prepped. So the raddle kit is this stick with all these little nails poking out of it. And this was again part of my package that I bought on Facebook Marketplace with my loom. And so I'm just getting group by group. There's 18 threads per group going into each gap, 18 threads per ½ inch, and each of these nails is ½ inch apart. And this is just separating them out on that bottom cross that I spoke about when I was warping it up. And so from here, we're just going, I think there was 21 groups in the end that I had to slowly split out. And so you can see down the bottom, I have a crisscross of that yellow waste yarn. And that was just for me to keep those groups separated so that I could count them easier. It was just a little trick. I think I found that one on Pinterest maybe early on when I was sick of counting over and over again when I lost track. And so this was quite the process of slowly unpicking it and getting it ready. But from here, then it gets transferred over to the loom and then wound on. And then once it's wound on, it's threading time. And oh my goodness, that was such a big job. So stage 1 of threading the loom is taking each of those 1134 threads through one of these white heddles. I did have a minor moment of panic again when I started to thread. I think I got 2 threads done and realized I'd made a major error in my counting. So with those 1134 threads, I actually only had 600 heddles that came standard with my loom, and I'd already started threading. And so I had to emergency order some new heddles, which came in a pack of 100. So I ordered 8 of those because it's an 8-shaft loom. And then I had to press my husband and eldest at home son, so child number 2, to help me pull apart the castle without pulling apart the entire loom to be able to fit the new heddles. So that was a little bit stressful, a little bit tricky, but we got it done. You can see the extra heddles on there now. And yeah, so then it's just a matter of picking through on my pattern and working out. And again, this was similar to the warping. It was probably, it could have even been longer actually. I feel like it was maybe 3 to 4 weeks, just because it's just so slow and so fiddly. And I'm not going to lie, I would get bored on the regular. And so I would end up just walking away for a break. In the end, I had to move it half threaded. So where I'm working here, I am in my eldest son's bedroom. He came home for a week for uni holidays, and so I kind of had to vacate his room and move it into the schoolroom. So this particular table loom does collapse for transport, which made it easier but a bit stressful when it was half threaded. And so I finished threading it while it was in the schoolroom before I was able to move it back into this room. But yeah, it was very, very fiddly. But finally, it was threaded, attached to the front beam, and I was ready to start weaving, which I was so excited about. That's the fun part, isn't it? So all this prep work can get a little bit tedious at times, but then comes the fun part. The first few rows, which I've got woven here, were really fiddly. The boat shuttle just did not want to slide across nicely, so I did some Googling, and that's when I discovered the concept of a shuttle race, which doesn't exist on a table loom. And so I did some Googling and I found a great blog post that gave me a DIY option. So I started trying with some scrap yarn and kind of sort of forgot how to thread it. So I ended up having to go back to the blog post, double confirm how that person recommended it. I will link that blog post in my comments below so that you can also find it if you have a table loom with this same problem. The idea of a shuttle race is to give the boat shuttle something to run across on. And so I ended up switching from the scrap yarn to my spare helping hands, which are just basically it's just a strip of white jersey. And I strapped those on and it made such a difference to my weaving. It made it so much easier to get that shuttle across and back. And so once I had this in, I felt like I could start actually enjoying the process, because up until this point it had been really frustrating, and to be honest, I was considering giving up. Can I admit that out loud? And so with that in place, so you can see there that with the race, it kind of makes it easier for it to run. It does get caught up still a little bit, so I did end up pulling it up higher again just to support it more. So you can see the problem I was having is there's just not enough tension in those bottom threads. And so you can see I was kind of as very slow as I had one hand underneath it and I'd wriggle it across like this. So, one in through the top, one hand down the bottom. It was slow, it was frustrating. But then once I got the race in place, you can see it just slides so much easier. Admittedly, I did have to fiddle it a little bit to get it across, but it was nothing compared to what I was doing previously. So hopefully this will make it a much more pleasant experience and with less errors, which is always a positive thing, especially with a warp this fine. I found it really tricky to unpick the errors, and so yeah, so the less errors I can have, the easier the entire project's going to be as I go along. So this is my current setup. I have taken over eldest's bedroom in his absence. So you can probably hear the ticking of his clock that he made. He likes the sound of it. It's white noise for him. So this is my setup. This is an Ashford 8 shaft table loom, and I do have the table stand that it comes with as well. I've currently got it threaded up with a 36 ends per inch cotton yarn, which I got from Thread Collective. I actually found the loom on Facebook Marketplace, which I was so excited about. I got it for an absolute steal. Set up but never used, so brand new. So I've got the new race, the shuttle race that I have put on there, which was earlier in the video. That's now there. I have this is the boat shuttle that I use. Again, it's Ashford. And then over here, you can see I've got my pattern. You can see I've got my pattern set up over here. So this tells me which row I'm picking, and this gives me my pick pattern. So let's weave a couple of rows. So I'm up to row 1. So I need down. It's a bit counterintuitive sometimes because you need to put the paddle down to raise the shaft, 2 down, 3 up, 1 down. And so I knock the reed into place and let's give it a throw. And of course now, after testing my new race, it doesn't want to work. So the reason I added the shuttle race is because table looms don't have one, and so it makes using boat shuttles like this tricky because there's not the support for them, and often the threads on here don't have the tension of a floor loom, which meant that I was, as you saw in that part of the video, it was very fiddly getting it across. Okay, so then I'm going to go to row 2, so I'm going to go down, 3 and 2, give it another hit, 2, 3, 2, 1. But we'll see. It's a bit frustrating, but the learning curve in everything, it just depends on 3. Okay, 1, 2. Yeah, but you're not supposed to be randomly using your phone like that, are you? Sorry. I guess so. What's that caught now? Oh my goodness. Oh, I see. I'm really not having much luck here today, am I? Okay. Of course I'm not. So that was 1, and then we go up to 8. So we got 2, 1, 2, 3. Okay. And then eight, and then we're back to 1, 2, 2, 3, 1. That's actually finally working there now. Caught the last couple there, but I really struggle with the tension on this, and I struggle with my tension sideways, just keeping the edges straight. So this is my second ever weave, and my first one was only like this wide. So it was really easy to throw my shuttle. It was easier to get tension. It was a thicker yarn as well, which made a difference. 3. But look, ideally, I'd probably love to get, that's jammed. Ideally, I would love to get a floor loom so that things just run seamlessly. It's a bit quicker, and you know, I'm not changing the shuttles here. I have it all tied up so that I'm on the bottom. It's going to cause a flaw there. But I do love the process of weaving, and I actually don't even mind changing the paddles up here. I actually enjoy that as well, but I'm not entirely sure that I would try another weave quite this fine. Just, yeah, I feel like it was a little bit optimistic what I was trying to achieve based on my loom. 1, oh wait, oh that was that one. Okay, so that's how I test. I got myself confused there. And so what I was able to do there was I just gotten myself confused as to which row I was actually throwing. And so what I was able to do was go back to the previous one that I thought might have been what I did, and then I was able to pull the yarn out so I could see that that's indeed what it was. So then I know that that's what that one was. So then I go 3, 2, 1, 2. It's very humbling being a beginner at something again when I've got so many crafts that kind of feel natural and I've got a muscle memory with, then to suddenly be on a craft and on a project where I don't have that muscle memory and I've actually got to stop and think all the time. It's, yeah. But it's good to be back at the beginning sometimes and to remind ourselves of patience and skill building and that we've got to start somewhere. So my other mistake on this was it's the first time I tried using a selvage, which is also an abject failure. So I did a bit of research and stuff and looked it up, but I just read the pattern wrong basically. And so what was supposed to be a nice neat selvage didn't work, so I am going to have to hem my finished project. It's a good learning project, and you know you've got to start somewhere, so you may as well start with something overly optimistic. If it's worth doing, it's worth overcrafting, has been a lifelong motto of mine. So here we are, overcrafting the heck out of my weaving, and I can see a major flaw in my fabric here actually right now. I'm not entirely sure is super fixable. And so that's my weaving coming together. You can kind of see the texture of the pattern coming in, which is quite cute. It's not super straight, but I feel like once I wash it and set it, it should come together nicely. And then yeah, up here, so this is where I went through the base threads, picked it up, and I've obviously missed it. And so what's happened is the row, it's like there's a full row, but then there's a bit that goes in and out as well. And so that's going to be tricky and fiddly to fix. So I think tonight I'm going to have a bit of a play with that and see if I can resolve that before I weave much further. But overall, yeah, this middle bit doesn't look too bad. Selvages aren't great. So thanks for joining me today for day 3.